Welcome to Lay Studio, art classes with Sass. My name is Elizabeth and I'm your acrylic instructor. Thank you for joining me today. This is a basic level quick class. It's a great way for you to practice some basic steps and cute little techniques that I'm going to show you. They are mini classes on 8x10 canvases. That's the best size to do this. Allow me to go ahead and give you a quick tour of the palette we'll be working with to paint a cloudy sky. Take a look. We have deep blue, light blue, white, gray, and unbleached titanium, which could be substituted for any kind of cream or tan color. Okay, let me go ahead and show you quickly which brushes we'll be working with today. Brushes make all the difference. You need a larger flat brush, a larger sized Filbert brush, a medium sized Filbert brush, and a larger sized round brush. If you do not have a large round brush, it's okay. I'll show you some ways of using both the round and the Filbert brushes to incorporate into the painting to create those beautiful fluffy billowy clouds we'll be working on. So I'm going to go ahead and change the view. I'll bring this much closer to my canvas so you can see exactly what we're doing close up, and let's have some fun painting a beautiful cloudy sky. We will be beginning with the flat brush, and we will start with the deep blue. Go ahead and apply some deep blue to your paintbrush, and we will begin up at the top of our canvases. We are going to go ahead and paint. If you happen to have a stretched canvas, you want to make sure that you paint around the sides of your canvas as well. Mine is a canvas panel, so it's more flat, and I don't have to worry about that. But if you do have a nice stretched canvas, do so. Paint the edges and around the sides so you don't have to worry about framing your painting later. As you notice, I'm working with the paintbrush at an upper angle right now, facing up, just to kind of catch the top of that canvas without having a sloppy edge. And then I can switch back to the nice broad angle, which you'll be working at to paint. We will be doing what I call wet on wet color blending, so we will get a good application of this deep blue right now. Really cover it over. You may have to add a touch of water to the tip of your paintbrush on occasion, just a little bit, because it goes a long way. Tap it off always, make sure it's not too gushy, and just kind of give it a nice, smooth, blended brush stroke. We don't want what's called pinholing, what I call pinholing, like this. If you're having white holes showing through, that just means you need to go back and add a little bit more paint. Now, right about here is where we begin doing wet on wet blending. This is so much fun, and it's a great way to really get comfortable with blending your colors, making smooth edges. You can also leave a little bit of a streak showing. I'm going to go ahead and pick up some of that light blue on the tip of my dirty brush. See, I'm not even cleaning that. And I'm going to go ahead and just begin going right over the line between the two colors. Work it, work it, work it. You can always add a touch of water to your brush or a little extra paint if you need it. Working it back up into the deep blue, higher up. You see how beautiful this looks. So easy to achieve this. You just want to make sure you have enough paint on your brush to make it move. And then I'm going back with a touch of water just to loosen it up slightly. Not enough to make it runny, but just enough to make it flow like butter. This is very personalized. You can add as much of this light blue as you feel like you want to, and as many visible streaks as you want to, because no two skies are alike, and it gives it this gorgeous natural characteristic of a streaky, sweepy, windswept sky just the way we love those gorgeous sunny day skies. That's what we're working on, that kind of a style. And then we'll be putting in our beautiful billowy clouds right on top of this. I'm going back, I'm making sure I don't have any pinholes. I see them here in a couple of different places. It can happen as your darker paint colors dry. In that case, you just want to go back and clean it up slightly, like so. And now I'm going to go ahead and give my paintbrush a good clean. You'll want to make sure you have a nice painter's rag to work with. So that will be either maybe a recycled t-shirt or old kitchen rag. Really easy to work with. Just tap off the water gently. Always be gentle with your brushes so that it extends the life of the brush. They are a good investment. You don't have to work with very pricey brushes, but you still want to take really good care of them. And here we go, filling it a little bit more along here and right along this edge. If it's not blending comfortably, I will go ahead and take a tiny bit of water again on my paintbrush and just get that going. Maybe pick up a little bit more deep blue so I can bridge the gap easily. You never want to have harsh lines showing. You always want it to be really smooth and blended and soft. I'm going to clean my brush one more time, start fresh again. It's always good to do that. Start fresh and then come back to it. You see how quick and easy this is? And very, very relaxing. This should be very easy, soft, relaxing brush strokes. If you start feeling tense, you just need to relax a little bit. Take a deep breath and relax into this process. This is very therapeutic. It's always wonderful to paint something smooth and blended like this. And you can see it already is beginning to look like a natural sky. Okay, so now I'm moving on, picking up more light blue with a touch of water still left in the brush so it's slightly damp. Really working it in now. Work quickly because we want to make sure that this dries for a moment so we can go back and start putting on those beautiful clouds. And so I'm doing predominantly light blue right here. Really want to get that in there quickly. So work it, work it, work it, work it. And right about here, while this is still damp, I'm going to pick up a little bit more deep blue. And I'm holding my paintbrush the long way and more on the tip so I can get some streaks and kind of aim where I want them, and then go back with the broad part of the brush and begin moving those back in where I want them to go. If I don't like it the first time around, I'll go back and do it again. Soft and subtle and beautiful. And then with a dirty brush, again, I can go back. Feel free, play around with this. You don't have to clean your brush every time you go to pick up new colors. Just have some fun with this. You see, I'm holding it straight up and down like a pencil with the tip directly at the canvas for this part. And then I'll clean my brush one more time. You can see how I'm doing the streaks in the reverse of the beginning of the painting, where it was a light colored streak on a dark background. Now it's a darker streak in a light background. It's a nice way to bridge that color variation as you're going, make it look really pretty, really natural. Okay, now I'm just going to continue on, painting on down to the bottom of the canvas using the light blue. Really, really get it on there, fill it in nicely. We don't want to spend too much time on this part because we do want to focus most of this quick class on the clouds themselves. So if it's fighting you a little bit with the brush, you feel like it grabs too much and doesn't pull properly across the canvas, just add a touch of water to your paintbrush. I find that these canvas panels that I work with are very, very gesso dry, so it's helpful to give just a little tiny bit of moisture. Not enough so that your paintbrush drips as you hold it, but just enough to get it flowing. And then one more time, I'll go back with a little bit of deep blue and give a couple of deep streaks down here. Same technique I showed you. It works beautifully into wet paint. And that is going to be the base for the sky. I will leave it like so for the moment and can take a little bit of a brush cleaning moment here. Make sure your brush is nice and clean. Now, the next step I'll do will require this nice big round paintbrush. Okay, and we're going to begin with the color white and just a touch of water in the tip of the paintbrush, again, just to kind of get that loosened up a little bit. Start sketching on our clouds. And remember, clouds are fluffy. We're going for big, fluffy cumulus clouds on this one, okay? Really beautiful. So I like to start kind of off center, not quite in the middle, so it has that whimsical sort of natural look. And I'm going to begin putting one right here. And you can see how I'm aiming different directions with the tip of this round brush. And you can turn this in all different angles to get what you want. Now do recall, you want those nice fluffy cloud shapes, right? So make sure you get that rounded curve to the bottom sides as well for most of these, and kind of gently fill that in. Then I'm going to just pounce my little brush here right along, pounce it, pounce it, pounce it. And we get that kind of wispy look to the end of the cloud. Makes it look really natural. You can have fun with this, experiment with that, until you really like the little shapes of your clouds. Be like, what do you see in your clouds? You could put fun little hidden animal shapes in there if you want to. This is your project. Something maybe at the hint of bunny ears or teddy bear, whatever you feel like putting in there. Your own personal touch. Make some fun with this. So once I get it to about here, I like to clean my paintbrush and make sure it's just damp. And then I'll go back and fade out some of the cloud to make it more translucent. So it was wispy and soft and billowy and had a few areas that weren't quite as thick. And you can kind of play with this. Again, both angles, make sure you get the bottom and the top area. And you can see how I'm playing with the shape of this cloud while it's still wet. And then maybe I'll come over here and I'll do a little bit over here as well. And if the blue is still slightly damp, that works in your favor because it actually will blend beautifully into the white and create soft, natural looking color variations. All right, I have the first cloud. Now I'm going to clean my paintbrush. It's not complete, but it's the base for the cloud. And I want to go ahead and put a few more cloud bases in and then go back and work on their details. It's good to work all around in a composition if possible. So up here, I'm going to go ahead and add another one. And I'm going to show you different techniques using different paintbrushes. See, this is the big round brush right now, and you can see how interesting that does with those big fluffy marks. You can really wiggle that paintbrush around, wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, pull it around, and get those shapes that you like, fluffy shapes, okay? So this is all still using that big round brush. Fading it out. And it will look very dramatic and drastic up at the darkest part of the sky, of course, where the color is the deepest blue. These clouds are going to really pop off the canvas. It'll be very eye-catching. So play around with it, have some fun. Okay, I have that second cloud shape in place. Now I'm moving right along, and I'm going to put another one. I kind of like them offset, so it looks natural but still has some interesting. See, I'm going to kind of suggest to where I want this one to go. You can do this with that round brush, and then just to give yourself a guideline of where you want to go with it, clean my brush out really well. Now I'm going to show you how to do the cloud with a larger Filbert brush, which is a little bit different in look and feel, but still does a really great job. I like to show you different methods. You see how big and broad that brush stroke is? And again, because it has a nice curved tip, you can really play around with the cloud shapes, and it fills in really quickly too. Now I think I'm going to bump that out there, and you see how wonderful that is, just with using the rounded tip of the brush to guide that shape around. So nice, and it also gives it a really different kind of soft looking brush stroke. So that's why I like to show you how to use different paintbrushes while you're painting, give you a little how-to about how the different brushes work while you're using your techniques here. Another lovely cloud shape, really coming out, popping out. I'm gonna bring this shape up a little bit more right here, just for the fun of it. In the words of Bob Ross, we're making happy clouds. Happy clouds. They should brighten your day and make you feel happy and satisfied with your work. And I'll go back with a clean, damp paintbrush and again just wipe away a little bit of paint in a few spots to give it that natural, translucent, billowy look. We are going to go back and give it some shading later, but as I was saying, I want to fill in all of the cloud shapes now, right as we're getting started doing this. So while I'm painting, and you're following along with me, you can put your clouds wherever you feel you like to. You don't have to follow along identically to where I'm putting mine or even the shapes that I'm making. This is my cloud sky. You can make your cloudy sky however you feel like you'd like to, as long as you're following this basic technique and these steps. Your skies will look gorgeous, I promise. And while we're doing this, I would like to take a moment to invite you to either rent or subscribe to my feature-length classes. I have those available as well, and they are very detail-oriented. Some are over 2 hours long. They are really high quality. You're going to get a great art education following along with those wonderful classes. If you rent with me, it's a 72-hour rental, and you can of course come and go as you need to within that time frame. And if you feel like you have it within your budget to subscribe with me, you will have unlimited access to all of my video content and can come and go as often as you like. Take your time, review projects, repeat projects from these classes that I post. The virtual classes are really, really helpful if you want to truly develop your skills as an aspiring artist. Once you start taking classes with me, I officially dub you my artist in training. So if you are interested in doing so, that would make such a difference for me as a self-employed artisan, taking these classes virtual and really having some fun doing this. So I invite you to do so. It would make a big difference to me, and I think you would really benefit from the classes. I also have social media, so as you do work on these quick classes as well, please share your work with me. I have Facebook and Instagram. I am on Facebook at laystudio.class and on Instagram at lay_studio.class. Hashtag laystudioclass, hashtag laystudioclasses, hashtag laystudio_art_classes. So please share your work with me, tag it, go right to my Facebook page, post it there, show me the beautiful work you have created, and I will add it to an ongoing photo album of my students' works. I'm always delighted to see what you've come up with and very pleased and proud to show it off. So this is going to be this wispy little cloud right here. You see I'm very carefully dabbing this one on here. I'm not putting a lot of pigment on that. And that is, I think I'll put one tiny one down here, and then we're moving on to do a little bit of shading to complete our compositions. I'm just putting a really tiny little cloud down here in the corner. Now, I'm going to clean my paintbrush really well, and we're going to go back and we're going to play with the shading on these clouds. You could leave it like this and it would be nice, it would still look really sweet, but I'm going to show you how to make these clouds really pop and take them to the next level. I am taking my Filbert brush, the smaller size Filbert brush that I have here, the medium one, and I'm putting a little bit of gray on my paintbrush. Now I'm going to go back to the first cloud that I painted and in a few places add just a few little touches of gray, doing this similar brush technique that I showed you for the main part of the cloud, but this time we're adding a little bit of gray. You can add a touch of water to your paintbrush to slightly loosen the paint up to be like the consistency of melted butter, and just kind of come in here in a few places, give a few little gray accents. Just kind of gives a little funky take on this. Maybe there is a little bit of a stormy feeling to the sky. You can see I'm working around now, and if it's too heavy or too deep in the certain places that I'm working, I can always go back and make it a little bit of a wash just by adding a little bit of water to the tip of my brush, kind of work that gray in there, scumble it in. Scumble is kind of like roughing it up with a little bit of a dry brush technique too. You can do that as well. Scumbling is great, so I'll show you how to do that. This is with a dry paintbrush, meaning that I've tapped the water out, I'm picking up a little bit of gray, and I'm going to scumble, scumble, scumble. You see how cool that is? The paint right in there, and then I can go back with a clean damp brush and work in the blend where I want it. Now isn't that nice? It looks so pretty. Okay, I'm going to go all through the clouds with the color gray and then pop back up and do a little bit of blue in there as well. And you can see just moving along. Scumble, 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 scumble. You can sing it to yourself. Scumble, scumble, scumble. And then we go ahead and clean the paintbrush one more time. And now we blend, 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 blend. Blend those beautiful clouds. Blend those beautiful clouds. There we go. Look at that. Okay, trying off my little paintbrush again. Scumble away. Scumble, scumble over here. In different places on this big fluffy cloud in here. I love this one. This one makes me happy. Happy clouds. Okay, so I have that pretty much like that. I might add a little bit more right here. Just kind of play with it. Like so. I'm liking that. Clean my paintbrush one more time. Tap it off, dry it off slightly, and then blend, 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 blend. Soft and beautiful. Look at that. There we go. And then I'm just going to water down the gray a little bit on these mostly translucent looking white clouds at the bottom, and just kind of barely, it's going to be more of a damp application of color, barely work it in there. Just a little hint of a wash of color. Just like so. And now, for my next trick, I am going in here and I'm going to take up a little bit of deep blue. Again, we're going to add a touch of water to that blue. Same brush, same little filbert, and I'm adding a bit of water to loosen it up. I'll show you what I mean by that. Just enough to kind of make it move. See? Okay, and then we'll go back in, just a hint of that. You can kind of work it off your paintbrush by tapping it on there. And in a few little places, I'm adding some deep blue shadows. Now immediately go back and clean my paintbrush. Like so. See how beautiful that looks? This gives a very natural feeling to the clouds. Now down in here, I won't work as much of the darker blue, just in a couple of patches, because the base of the sky is lighter in color down here. So I'm just doing a couple little spots of that, working it way out again. And then we can switch to the lighter blue. Instead of using this darker blue down here, we can use a touch of the light blue, again with a little bit of water added to it, just slightly loosen that up. Work it off the brush so you just have a touch on there, and just working it in a few little places, touches of that blue. Down here I want a tiniest hint with a dirty paintbrush of the deep blue kind of mixed together on one brush with both colors, just to kind of give them a little bit of drama, make them look dramatic right here. And then I'll clean my paintbrush one more time, tap it off, go back with just a damp brush and work those little deeper shadows in, like so. And voila, look how beautiful that is. We have clouds, my lovelies. We have beautiful clouds. Now, final step would be just to kind of go back with a little bit of extra white in a few places, watered down. Again, do that kind of washy watered effect. And kind of come in here and just in a few little spots with translucent white and give a little pouncy mark here and there to bring up the highlights in a few places. You can kind of break up the shadows like this. Turn your paintbrush as you feel like you need to. And now you have beautiful dimensional looking clouds. You can always clean your brush and come back and just finesse those little spots here. Give them a little finesse. Smooth them out a little bit, make them look beautiful. And that is a basic, quick cloud composition. I really hope you have been enjoying this, that you've had some fun, a nice relaxing painting time, and that you do consider joining me for my rentals or subscription, whichever fits your budget. You will be gaining a very rich, wonderful acrylic painting education. I have over a decade of art instructing experience, and I would love to impart my artistic wisdom and skills on to you. So please consider joining me for more classes, and I look forward to seeing your work. Can't wait to see what you've come up with based on these instructions. The last step that you'll want to do is to go ahead. Now you can use a pencil, you could use a pen. I have an extra little small brush I'm going to go ahead and bring over here. If you happen to have a little brush, you can do this, or you could use a pencil, you could use the tip of a ballpoint pen, or even a Sharpie to do this. I am going to go ahead and with the color white, I'm going to put in my initials down in the bottom right hand corner. I'll give this a little lift up, and I'm going to kind of put it at a little jaunty angle to do this, and put my initials right down here. Gentle pressure, slightly watered down paint. And voila, you have completed your quick class of a cloudy sky. Let me bring that up close so you can see it. thank you again so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time to paint with me, and I appreciate your support. Again, visit me at Facebook at laystudio.class or on Instagram at lay_studio.class, hashtag #laystudioclasses, hashtag #laystudioclass, hashtag #laystudio art classes. That's a lot of hashtags to get out. You get the idea. And I absolutely look forward to painting again with you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.